Well, welcome everyone to the Raider roster report. This is Raider Sparks coming at you tonight, the night before the draft. Big night ahead of us tomorrow night. I know everybody's super excited, including myself, about how the Raiders are going to draft this year. And like I said, I would put together a mock draft, and we'll have some fun with this tonight. So before I begin and get into my picks. I just wanted to talk a little bit about how I set up my mock draft. Those of you that have been following it, thank you so much for all those people that have been liking and subscribing to the channel. Hopefully, you keep passing it on to others. Definitely helps, and the more we grow the channel, the better it can be. More content we can put out, and also more comments we can get. The comments have been great so far. I like hearing what Raider Nation has to say about the team and the players and everything else. I think it's been great. Here at the Raider roster report, obviously we look at the whole picture of the roster, so we really break down how our active roster is looking and what the roster might look like after the draft. So after I do my mock draft, I'm going to go over a depth chart or a roster that I think how it would look, give you guys a sense of why I picked what I picked, and yeah, we'll kind of go from there. So, like I said, we're gonna have some fun with it tonight. It's basically what I kind of think the team might do. Also, kind of what I would do if I was a general manager, and really just kind of try to pick players that I have liked from the get go and that type of thing, and how I think the roster could be filled out. So that we can get back to the playoffs and ultimately the Super Bowl. So that's the goal. So what I did with the draft is I went took Mike Mayoff's comments and some of the other comments from the coaches and kind of blended it in, and I kind of attacked the offensive line early as one of my strategies for the draft. And the reason I did that is because one, I think this draft, although there are a lot of tackles or offensive tackles, I just think there's going to be a huge run in the first and second round on offensive tackles. So if you have one targeted, I think you got to get the guy early. And the way Tom Cable has specific, physical traits that he looks for in his tackles, it kind of limits the tackles that I think might be highest on their board. So that's one thing I had kept in mind. Also, Mike Mayock's press conferences, things he's been talking about was talked a lot about the offensive line and kind of their decision to move on with Gabe and Hudson and Trent Brown and one obviously saving the money, but the thing was to get younger, more athletic. They're changing their blocking scheme this year. They want to go to more sort of outside zone or zone type concept. So it's going to require our linemen to be able to block in motion, be able to get to certain angles for the block to deliver, get to the second level. So it's going to be a little bit or a lot different blocking scheme than you kind of saw in the past for the Raiders. So yeah, they need to get younger. They need to get more athletic. And he said that over and over again. And he wants a young core, a young nucleus to do that with, so they can. He mentioned being able to work out together and just kind of work and grow together. And you saw the pieces of that come together with the extension with Colt Miller, the extension of Andre James. Let's see here, yeah, and then obviously we signed or got Simpson last year. So yeah, they're definitely trying to get younger and get a core group together for the line to move forward. When I approach the linebacker position, I do think we need an outside edge rusher or outside linebacker. We need a stand-up edge rusher, somebody that can press the outside shoulders tackle. It's really in Gus Bradley's system, it's basically the same position, but the person has to be able to also cover. And if you guys watch my video on edge or outside linebacker role, I kind of broke down what I was looking for. Really, somebody that has the ability to rush the passer, to be able to challenge the tackle. Either stand up, hand in the dirt, whichever, but to have a variety of pass rush moves, somebody that can sack the quarterback, also somebody that can drop in pass coverage. If we took a edge for this position, I would want them to eventually be able to grow into the Leo position. and or if we took a outside linebacker or just a linebacker in general that has the physical gifts to be able to do it, to eventually be able to be our Mike or Will or just a versatile linebacker for us, not just a Sam linebacker, but to start as a Sam linebacker. So that's why that's how I kind of approached that position. And of course, I did it later in the draft because as Raider fans, we've been so disappointed with the Raiders' draft strategy throughout the years. I mean, we've been begging for a productive, dominant linebacker in the draft, Devin White, of course, but we haven't gotten one in a long time, and I just don't think they value the position. I kind of think as a whole, the NFL, is really the Raiders value, obviously the quarterback position, the guy who throws the ball. You know, they should value more, I think, the person that rushes the passer. So if you're throwing at the guy that rushes and sacks them from whichever angle, whether it's edge or interior, but it seems like we've kind of, not been focused on our defensive line in the draft, anyways. I mean, 2 years ago we wanted a big time pass rusher, and we got Farrell, and that was disappointing to a lot of Raider fans. And so, and then interior defensive line. I mean, we haven't got a pass rusher for forever, but I mean, the NFL values that position if you can rush the passer. I mean, Aaron Donald, Leonard Williams this year with the big contract. Chris Jones has a big contract. I mean, these guys that can rush from the interior, they get paid just like an edge rusher, so they're valuable. So, but the way the Raiders do it, they tend not to maybe value that position as highly. I mean, I think we should get a top flight linebacker, edge rusher, somebody that can get after the quarterback as our first pick, but I just don't see that. I just don't see that happening for the Raiders, but that's okay because there's other players in the draft we can look at. Safety, I don't really think the league or the Raiders maybe value as much. I mean, we wanted Derwin James, and we got Colton Miller, which actually kind of worked out a little bit. But I mean, you see the difference. The Raiders had a chance to get one of the best safeties you could possibly get, or take an offensive lineman, and they chose offensive lineman. I think the same will be said this year. I know a lot of people want Trayvon Mooring. I just think the Raiders value the offensive line too much, so you're going to see that in my mock draft. Mayock even basically said it about the safety position. He said we can get our starting free safety in the third or fourth round, and then he also said after the third or fourth round we can get a safety that would be converted from a cornerback or nickel to a safety position. So I kind of addressed both of those in my mock draft, kind of using what he had to say, and just it's like, wow, that actually speaks volumes. I mean, he talked so much about speed, getting faster, getting stronger, all of those things. Kind of referenced those things in his conferences. And see, what else did we talk about? Oh, Gus Bradley tends not to draft safeties high, anyways. I mean, a lot of his drafts, except for I think Jamal Adams, maybe I think he drafted him. Anyways, but usually he drafts his players a little later. I guess he didn't draft Jamal Adams. I forget it. The name escapes me. I think he did one first round, and then most of the other guys were third or later rounds, that type of thing. And then Marinelli, I heard the other day the scouts were talking from one of the Dallas YouTube channels, saying that one thing that Marinelli did when he was in Dallas is he pretty much would tell the coaching staff or the GM, hey, you don't have to draft a defensive lineman until later in the draft, and I'll take care of it, basically. And so I think the Raiders may be following the same strategy. So with that, and now before you kill me, remember this is for fun. It's me having a little fun with this. Before you kill me in the draft, I did make some trades, had a little fun with it. I drafted way too many players. There's no way the Raiders are going to draft as many players as I did, but I mainly wanted to do it to kind of show you what I was thinking to how we could best affect the roster. And so some of the guys, we probably would be more UDFA for some of the positions, but I figured, what the heck, we're having some fun and we can make some trades. I did use the trade value chart, so they're all legit. They're not just made up or anything else. They're all actually legit trades and could happen, but will happen part is probably unlikely, except for the first pick. I do think the Raiders are going to come out with a trade to get their first pick. So I have the very first trade of the draft. I've got the Raiders trading with Philly. The Raiders are going to give up pick 17 and 48, which totals on the trade value chart 1,370 points. And the Raiders in return are going to get pick 12 and 84. So that totals 1,370 points. So it's a straight up trade, switching some draft picks around. And since they moved up to 12, they needed to get past the Los Angeles Chargers because that team was going to select their pick, which is Christian Darrisaw. I think Christian Darrisaw from almost day one was probably their first pick target. Obviously, they got rid of Trent Brown, and I think they did that with Christian Darrisaw out of Virginia Tech in mind. He has all the physical traits that Tom Cable would look for, except the hand size was just a little short of what normally Tom Cable would get, but real strong, 6'5", 314 in his pro day, but I think he usually plays around 320, 325. 9.25 inch hands, 34.5 inch arms, so he's got the length, 82 and 8 wingspan, a 4.89 40, which is extremely good for a man this size. 10.4 broad jump, 30 bench press, so he's strong. Very, very effective in the run game. Very good in pass pro. I think he's the most, out of all the top tier tackles, the most agile, the most mobile. And for their new blocking scheme and what the Raiders need this year, somebody that can block in motion, somebody who can get to the second level on the run game, somebody that can get the proper angle on the block. All of those things. And Tom Cable was at his pro day. So I think they've targeted him for a while. I mean, I went back and forth. I mean, Tevin Jenkins, I think, is a really good prospect and possibly could be somebody they pick in the first round. Alex Leatherwood, I think he might even jump to the first round. I think he's got the mobility as well. Spencer Brown, maybe a second or third round pick. He meets all the measurables, just kind of a raw talent. And so I don't know if the Raiders want to go there because I think whoever they pick would want to start, and I think Leatherwood and Tevin Jenkins could start. Spencer Brown, maybe, but again, it's pretty raw. And then Stone Forsythe has all the ability as far as pass rush, pass pro, but a little sketchy in the run game for me. He does have all the measurables, but I do think the Raiders, not my draft, the real draft. I think they would definitely target their starting tackle in the first 3 rounds. I just think there's going to be a huge run on tackles, so I think they go ahead and they get their number one option, Christian Darrisaw, with a trade up, and I think that would be the 12th overall pick. The next pick I think the Raiders are going to get is Trey Smith out of Tennessee. 21 years old. I should also mention the age thing. Christian Darrisaw is 21 as well, so they're definitely going with the youth movement. I know they do want to get young and grow together. But anyways, Trey Smith, I think, is one of the better guards in this draft. I mean, I was looking at Wyatt Davis. I mean, Landon Dickerson, but he's going to go too early, I think. But it's at pick 79 in round 3. Obviously, we don't have a second-round pick since I traded it. I think this is a great value. I know Kendrick Green could be somebody to get there, or even Aaron Banks. I just looked at Trey Smith being 21, 6'5", 321, 9 and 6/8 hands, big hands, 33.5 arm length, 82 wingspan, so he's got that. A 5'14", 40, but he had a really impressive 3-cone at 7'4", somebody at that size, and then a 31 vert, 9'4 broad jump, and 32 on the bench press. So he's super strong. He's got all that stuff. He's got some medical concerns, so I think that's maybe why he's fallen to the 3rd round. But I think it somewhat helps him as well because he had a good Senior Bowl. He didn't opt out. I mean, this man had every excuse to opt out for COVID reasons, with the blood clot issues and some other injuries he took on. But you know what? He chose to play and stick it out. Chose to do the Senior Bowl, even though he was a little dinged up too. And I think that just shows the love of football that this man has. And I think that's something that John Gruden values. A lot of the scouting reports have him as not as mobile. I disagree with it. I mean, he played tackle. He can play tackle. I think the one reason you move him to guard is because, he's not as as mobile for a tackle that you'd be looking for at a 5'14", but a 7'4" 3-cone for an inside for a guard is actually pretty good. I mean, Kendrick Green is much better, but Kendrick Green doesn't have the arm length, and so if I had to choose either the little slower 3-cone or the arm length, Tom Cable values length, and so that's the reason I went with Trey Smith. And he's got a long resume. He's been a SEC defensive lineman, all defensive lineman for a couple years in his career, and he's obviously SEC going up against that talent says something himself. And 32 bench press reps. The dude's strong, man. He could really be a future guard for us, if not start in year one. He could definitely be our future at that position. So that's what I went with in the third round at 79. And I think the Raiders will get a steal here. Next, I got Paulson Debut. See here, out of Stanford. I believe he's 22. It's kind of hard to find his age. I picked him because of his versatility. He plays either right or left outside corner. He has some slot, but he's mainly most effective in coverage. He's probably got the best ball skills in the class. 6'1", 198, 31.5-inch arms, 10-inch hands, which are huge for a cornerback, which is why he gets interceptions. 4'4", 240, 36.5 vert, 12'1" broad jump, a 4.09 short shuttle, and a 6.90 3-cone, 18 bench press reps. So he's strong too. Handle the tackling responsibilities. 2 seasons worth of play, 97 tackles, 8 interceptions, and 27 pass breakups. The man can play. He does get burnt sometimes, but I think it's all coachable. And I think he's one of the most desired outside quarterbacks for the cover 3 teams for sure. He might even be the top 2 or 3 cover 3 team outside cornerback prospect in the whole draft. So us getting him here at 80 in round 3 would be huge. I mean, if you look at his comp, I mean, everybody says Richard Sherman, but it's not far off. I mean, Richard Sherman 6'2", Paulson 6'1". Richard Sherman, this is at his pro day. Richard Sherman was 195, Paulson 198, 32-inch arms, and Paulson 31.5. 9.75 hands for Richard Sherman, 10 hands. I mean, everything's pretty comparable. Paulson's faster. Richard Sherman ran a 4.54 40. Richard Sherman had a 38-inch vert, so Paulson just off of that. A 12.5 broad jump versus a 12.1, so it's right there. Much better hips for Paulson. 4.09 short shuttle. Richard Sherman 4.33, and then 3-cone is basically the same, 6.90 or 6.86. Bench press is basically the same, 18 versus 16. So the comparisons are there for a reason. Physically about the same. I mean, all the talk this summer has been about us getting Richard Sherman. Well, we could just draft Richard Sherman and not have to pay him as much money. So, anyways, I think the Raiders would love to get Paulson on the team. And I went back and forth with this one as well. I mean, the kid out of Syracuse, Milifanu. Part of me was I just couldn't get past drafting his brother. But Benjamin St. Just out of Minnesota, excellent player as well. So there's definitely some outside cornerbacks out there. And actually, he would have been around 4 guy probably. But I chose to get Paulson here at round 3. I think it works out for the draft. And yeah, so that's what I did. So, trade alert. Second trade of the mock here. We're going to go ahead and Las Vegas is going to send the 84th pick to Dallas. And that is worth 170 points. And in return, we're going to get from Dallas, we're going to get the 99th pick, which is 104 points. The 115th pick, which is 64. And 227, which is only with 1 point. So that's 169 points. So it works out on the trade chart. And so we're going to give up the 84th pick to move back to the 99, add a 115 and a 227 to help fill out our roster. So we get to the next, and we have another trade alert. Trade number 3. So we're going to go ahead and make a trade with Cleveland. We're going to send Cleveland the 99th pick, and that's worth 104 points on the trade value chart. And we're going to move back again. We're going to move back to 110. That's worth 74 points. And then we're going to get pick 169, which is 22 points. pick 211, which is 6, and 257, which is 1. That equals 103 points. So it's basically a wash there on the points on the trade value chart. So we're going to add picks so we can get some more depth later in the draft and help complete our roster. I know PFF has the 26th worst roster. So we are going to change that immediately. So we now have the 110th pick, and I'm going to go ahead and go with Tyree Gillespie. I've said it for a while now. I think he's their targeted free safety. Mayock said he can get his free safety in the 3rd or 4th round, and here we are in the 4th round at pick 110. I think there are several teams targeting Tyree as well, so be able to get him here is huge. 22-year-old out of Missouri, 5'11", almost 6 foot tall, 207, 31-inch arms. He meets all the typical requirements of a Gus Bradley, excuse me, free safety. If you look at most of his free safeties, anywhere from like 5'8" to 6'2", but usually around the 205 range. And so Tyree fits right in there. Oh, excuse me. And let's see here. But very athletic. We get speed. Speed. 4.38 40. And he hasn't got a couple of scores, 4.43 or 4.38, but either way it's fast. He's got a 4.39 short shuttle, 35.5 vert, 9.0 broad jump. Not as great on the broad jump, but not bad on the vert. 15 bench press rest and a 7.06 3-cone, which is fine for his safety. But he's a tackling machine. He can hit. He's a hard hitter. 146 total tackles in his career, 6.5 for loss, 2.5 sacks, 12 pass breakups, and 1 forced fumble. No interceptions in 41 games. So that's a little bit concerning. But I think if as I was looking at the different we're getting a 4th round safety and not a 1, 2, or 3 round safety. So there's a lot of other guys that, yes, we can get. I just think that's how the Raiders value the safety position. I think that's how the league values the safety position. I went back and forth on this one in the later rounds. I really like Caden Stearns. I know they were kind of on the fence about opt-outs, and he did opt out, so I was kind of a little iffy about that. But his physical tools and his freshman tape at Texas were amazing, I thought. I think he'll be a really good free safety in the league. I just got the feeling that the Raiders value Tyree's tackling ability, the way he runs the alley, is probably the best in the class. The Raiders DB coach actually ran Tyree's pro day, so they saw him at the Senior Bowl. Obviously, they liked him. They sent their coach to run his pro day. So I just think all that stuff added up. Another guy I really like in the later rounds is James Wiggins or Derek Forrest, either of the Cincinnati guys. They both have the athletic profile. I think they'd be good pros. I think Tyree is just the Raiders guy. And it doesn't help. His best game was at Alabama. So his Alabama tape was amazing. And I think it was the same drive. He stopped Najee Harris stone cold. He deflected a pass from Dante Smith, Heisman Trophy winner, and then he got Waddle on a tackle for loss. I think it was all in the same drive. He also has tape against Kyle Pitts, guarding him. So, I mean, just a tremendous athlete and somebody I think would be wise for the Raiders to get here. So, moving on again, and don't kill me. I know we're not going to get this many 4th round picks, but I'm just going to go for a little bit here in the 4th round. Derek Barnes, I think he'll be our linebacker / edge. Very, very underrated player, in my opinion, out of Purdue. Round 4, pick 115. He's 22, 6'2", 238, 33 3/8 arms, 9'6" hand, 81 wingspan. So he's long. He's got length. Maybe not as tall as you might want, but 6'2" is fine. 238. Runs a 4.57 though. It's really good. I mean, he can move. Very athletic. 37 vert, 9.11 broad jump, 29 bench press with 33 3/8 arms. Super strong dude. 39 games at Purdue, 226 tackles, 25 tackles for loss, and 10.5 sacks. The thing I like most about him is, 1, he's a tackling machine. 2, like I mentioned earlier, if whoever runs the same position, either outside linebacker or edge, I want it to be somebody that can grow into more responsibility. He can play all 3 linebacker positions and plays them well. and the player has to be able to rush the edge. He has a ton of tape rushing from a stand-up position, taking on the tackle just like an edge rusher, or even handling the dirt. He looks just like an edge rusher. He's got edge rush moves. He's got pass rush moves. He's got cover skills. He can hit. He can stop the run. Would be a tremendous pick for the Raiders at round 4, pick 115 to kind of help fill out our roster. And actually, we don't have a player like him on our roster. We don't have somebody like this. So I think it would be a great pick for the Raiders. Obviously, I went back and forth between edge guys, but early, I like Aziz for the spot. Osai could do it. I mean, Joe Tryon are the edge guys I really like, but they're all second-round picks, second or first-round picks even. Some of those guys, and then the outside linebackers I like, and the guys that could grow into the more linebacker. Baron Browning would be a guy I would like. And there's a number of others. I mean, David Collins is going to go in the first round. I'm kind of on the fence with him, anyways. But I mean, there's several guys that could fill it. But Micah Parsons, if we went with a 17th overall pick, would be fine. But I just think with the way the Raiders value the linebacker position, kind of where the league values the linebacker position, getting a player of this caliber to fill a need, and I think he's going to be a dynamic player in the NFL. So I'm totally cool with it picking Derek Barnes at 115 in the 4th round. So moving on to pick, let's see here, 121. Bobby Brown, Texas A&M. I think he's 21, as best I could tell. He's 6'4", 320, and unbelievable. 4.90 for a man that size. It's incredible. 33 vert, 9.5 broad jump. So really, really good. Had a breakout season this past year's junior season. 5.5 sacks, 7.5 tackles for loss. And again, just like Tyree, his best film was against Alabama. He was kicking ass against that Alabama line, and that showed. So his biggest problem is inconsistency. He's not always bringing it every game, but when he does, he's really, really good. And I think it fits also the Raider need. I mean, we have Hankins as a 1 technique, but as a run stuffer. We have a bunch of 3 techniques. Bobby Brown can be a pass rushing 1 technique, which is perfect to fill out the rest of our roster, somebody we do need on the team. But he can't stop the run. He's stout, but I didn't have him on my original list as I was going through position groups, but I've watched more about him. One, I've seen an interview with him. He's really, really good interview. Loves football, but also I saw some all-22 on him, sort of a breakdown with that. And he's just quick, nimble, strong. He has a bull rush. He's got swim moves. He's got everything you would want. He started out in the draft way down because I think of the inconsistency, but Rob Malinelli, that's his thing, right? Give me a guy later in the draft, and I'll make him into something. And so here you go. There's your challenge. He's got all the physical tools you could want, and I think this would be a great pick to help fill out the roster for the Raiders. Next pick I have is Marco Wilson out of Florida, round 4 again, pick 124. Yes, I know that's 4 round picks, but we did some nice trades, and we're getting some quality players. I don't know if he's going to be here in the 4th round, but all the indicators, all the mock drafts and the consensus, everything has him still here. In fact, they have him way later in the draft, but 6'1", 191, 30 and 3/4 arms, 9 5/8 hands, 22-year-old, but incredibly athletic. 4.37 40, 44-inch vert, 13.6 broad jump, 4.13 short shuttle, and a 6.8 3/3 cone drill, and 26 on the bench press. Chris Sims, who I take for what it's worth with analysts, but he was almost dead on last year how he graded out the cornerback class and what they did their first year. I mean, he was almost spot on. So I'll give him credit there, and I'll take his word for it. He has Marco Wilson as his top 6 cornerback in the league. I think he has pass rush ability because of the type of athlete he is, but he doesn't show it on the stat sheet. But he's also a very good tackler. So whoever we have playing that nickel spot, we need the guy to be able to tackle, to get after the quarterback on some blitzes sometimes, and also be able to cover. He's good in zone. He can handle that. He has 99 tackles, 3 interceptions, 17 pass breakups his career. So So he's solid, man. This is a very awesome player, very athletically gifted. I mean, if you look at Casey Hayward, 5'10", 192, so it's very similar. 4'4", 740, 34 vert, 11'9" broad jump. Casey Hayward does have a 3.95 three-cone, which is awesome, but a 6.76 6.76 three cone and a 3.93 short shuttle, which is awesome. And then bench press 19. So Marco Wilson's just right up there in a lot of categories, even ahead of Casey Hayward. So and I think Keeson and Amik might be getting cut actually, and Lawson too. I mean, I don't think, and I could be wrong, but if I'm not wrong, then we probably won't get Marco Wilson or any slot receiver. But I don't, or slot quarterback, I should say. I just don't know if they fit the athletic profile. I mean, Amik's 5'7", 187 with 30-inch arms, and his pro day, he ran a 4.4 540, but it was a home workout. He did it with some buddies and posted online. Didn't do any of the other drills, so I'm not sure if he has the physical traits to be a slot cornerback. And at 5'7" is tough. I mean, I kind of hope we go with somebody a little bit bigger, but he might get a shot because of where he was drafted. We'll see. And then Keeson, he's going to have a tough day. He's like 5'8" or 5'9", 196, 30-inch arms, a 4.4 240, which is okay, but only a 32.5 vert, so not as dynamic. 12 broad jump, which is good. 4.52 short shuttle, though. It's not necessarily what we're looking for, but like a 7.28 three-cone. Anything above a 7 for a slot corner, that's tough. And no nothing on the bench press for either of these guys. So I'm not sure if Gus Bradley's going to be keeping these dudes around or not. The slot cornerback position was tough. I mean, I kind of went back and forth. I like Trill Williams because his versatility. I like Zeke McPherson out of Texas Tech. I added him late too. Him and Bobby Brown I added late because I saw some stuff on him that I really liked. So, but yeah, and then I like Trey Brown, even though a lot of his stuff, physical stuff's good. He does have a little bit, slightly over 7 3-cone, which is a little concerning, but with his tape and his Senior Bowl and everything else, how gritty he is, he's got some kickoff return ability as well. I would have no problem getting him as a nickel as well. But again, I was targeting later too. I mean, there's other nickel cornerbacks that are awesome, like Elijah Molden and Aaron Robinson, those types of things. But those are second round players, and I don't think we're going to be targeting this till round 4 or later. So, but I think we're getting an awesome player here in round 4, and I think we're getting a fabulous player here in round 4 if we could pull that off. So that's kind of where I'm at with Marco. So then, of course, the rest of these picks are not going to happen. I just did it because I wanted to have some fun with it. But Israel Mukuomo, I'm not sure how to say his last name, but South Carolina, round 5, pick 169. Some draft boards have him going as high as like 100. Others have him going in the 7th round. So I just chose, was make a 5th round pick out of him. I think he's 21. He didn't do the combine, but he's 6'4", 212, 84 3/4 wingspan. Some of the comps on him were Cam Chancellor. So of course, if somebody's going to be comped as Cam Chancellor with Gus Bradley, we're drafting him. Also, another comp was Brandon Browner. Both obviously original members of the Legion of Boom. So, and most of the players are people that he's getting drafted to are like, Seattle mainly. Somebody that can be creative with them. New England is a possibility. So, 22 games, 86 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 7 interceptions, 10 pass breakups. I mean, his length is tremendous. He can play outside corner, slot, free safety, strong safety. He's basically positionless. He can do it all. And really, you play him sort of in that just in the passing windows. I mean, you want him in there for goal line because he can take the tight end and be disruptive. He's really good at knocking down slants with that length. He can jam a guy because he's strong and he can get up there. He can handle the running game. There's a lot he can do, but you have to be willing to be versatile. So I would put him down as a strong safety or a positionless safety or whatever. And a lot of times, we have a prowler type position and some other creative stuff that Gus Bradley has some packages for. And I think this is the guy that would fill it. I think he would be a great Raider. Look at the length on this dude. He can be very disruptive in the passing game. So yeah, that's my pick there. And then I go down to round 6, pick 211, Jonathan Adams at Arkansas State. I went back and forth, TJ Vasher, but I don't think TJ Vasher is going to be there. So, I mean, I had a tough time with this one as well. And I should mention strong safety position. I really like Jacoby Stevens. I just couldn't see how to put him on the team correctly. And I really like Divine Diablo. If we drafted either one of those guys, I'd be totally cool with it because I think they're going to be around 4 or 5 or later, which is kind of where we target this. I do like those other guys. The other safeties that the strong safeties, Michael like Nazardine out of Florida State, awesome. But I just think it's overkill. We have Jonathan Abram who's playing the strong safety, and Carl Joseph's playing the strong safety. Heath is kind of a go between do it all safety. So to me, it's overkill. But coming down in like the fourth, fifth round to get a guy, I think is great. But I do really like those other guys as well. But just I wanted somebody that's different, right? I want a difference maker, a matchup guy that Gus Bradley can use sort of as a piece to change up the defense. And I think Israel would be great. But back to Jonathan Adams out of Arkansas State, again, 22-year-old guy, 6'2", 210. Just tremendous player. 4.45 40, 39 vert, 11.5 broad jump, 7.04 3 cone, which is not the greatest, but 4.38 short shuttle, which is pretty good for a man that size. We needed another X receiver. We only have Brian Edwards, and then I guess his backup right now would be Marcel Aitman. But I think we can improve that position. In 2020, what a year Jonathan Adams had. 79 receptions for 1,111 yards, 12 touchdowns, 14.1 average. So tremendous. I know I think every scout was at his pro day. So he has a lot of interest around the league. I don't know if he'll be there still in round 6. I think he will. Most of the draft boards have him pretty much there or even lower, some of them. So I think it would be a great pick for the Raiders. Again, I think we need to get a backup or at least bring in some competition at that X wide receiver. I know we're considering Julio Jones, but we can't kind of sit around for that to happen. So that's not in the works, and we want to get somebody to back up Edwards at that X wide receiver spot. I think this would be a great pickup. And again, I do like TJ Vasher a lot. I like Tamron Terry a lot. I just think they'll be gone. I like some of the return guys for this spot too, but the Raider roster, we have too many slot wide receivers already, so it's hard to get a return guy in that spot. So anyways, so we have another trade alert. Let's see here. We're going to trade Carl Naza to Philadelphia for their round 6 pick, number 225 overall. And we are going to go ahead and select Elijah Mitchell out of Louisiana Lafayette. Definitely think we should upgrade the third running back position. So when I look for that position, and I kind of commented last time I did the running back position, I want somebody that can step in and be every down back in case Josh Jacobs gets hurt. Obviously, we have Kenyon Drake, but he's the playmaker, 3 down back, kind of do it all back. I want a guy that can come in and handle the workload, handle a game if need be. Elijah Mitchell, I love his physical traits. He's 5'10", 215, runs a 4.38 40, 6.94 3 cone, and a 4.19 short shuttle, 38-inch vert, 12.8 broad jump. He's only 22. He had a big workload, but tremendous player. 500 or 827 attempts, 3,267 yards, 6.2 average, and 41 touchdowns rushing. But he also has 49 receptions for 597, 12.5, and 5 touchdowns. So good in all phases. And I don't mind. So I think he's as low as he is because of the workload he went through in college, and a lot of NFL teams back off of that. But I think it's good for us because we got Josh Jacobs who's going to handle the workload. We just want a guy to be able to come in just in case. And so maybe his body rests up for a year or two, and then if Josh moves on in a couple of years, we have him right in the wings. But he's the perfect build, 5'10", 215. He's got the physical tools. He bounces off a contact. He doesn't go down on the first hit. He has some kick return ability, 5 returns for 82 yards. So not a huge sample size, but he has the ability. So anyways, the next pick at 227, round 7, Tony Poljan out of Virginia. I think he's 24. I'm not sure of his age, but I really like him. He's a former quarterback. He's a good blocker. The main thing I like about him is he can come in and challenge carrier because he can block. I think he'll give us some ability on special teams. But what I really like is his red zone ability. 6'7", 265, 34-inch vert, 11.3 broad jump, 4'8", 340, 450 short shuttle, 7.34, 3-cone, 23 bench press, so he's strong. And in 2020 was his 1 year as a tight end in college, but at 38 receptions, 411 yards, 10-yard average, with 6 touchdowns in 10 games. So definite red zone threat, but he can block. And somebody to come in and challenge carrier for that third position. I know we just brought in another guy that has very little experience and no experience in college, so I think Tony would be a great pickup for us. I think it would be tremendous. So anyways, and I did not put the picture in here, but if we did go with the 55-man roster, I think I would even take a look at getting Avery Williams as a kick return specialist. The man has 8 career touchdowns in either kick returns or punt returns. He's got good average. He's probably one of the best in the country, and probably will be available in the 7th round. So somebody I just wanted to throw in to kind of keep an eye on if we did decide. I think we're going to do the 55-man roster again, so I think that would be tremendous. So anyways, don't kill me for it. Let me know what you think. Hopefully you guys put comments. But let's take a look at if we went ahead and did this draft, what the roster would look like. So at quarterback, we'd have Carr, Mariota, and Peterman. At receiver, Z receiver, John Brown, Henry Ruggs, Willie Snead. At X receiver, Brian Edwards, Jonathan Adams. Marcel would probably be on the practice squad, and Zay Jones would probably be out. We'd have Hunter Renfrow in the slot. And we'd leave that other slot open because Willie Snead can go there, John Brown and Henry Ruggs, they can all play it. So we'd have that ability to put the speed guys there. I think that would be tremendous. We'd have some weapons. We'd have that backup X receiver to Brian Edwards. I think it would be tremendous. At tight end, we'd have Waller, Foss Moreau, and Tony Poljan. We could go ahead and move on from Derek Carey, save a little bit of money. Running back, Josh Jacobs, Kenyon Drake, and Elijah Mitchell. We can go ahead and move on from Richard and Reddick. Save some money there. And, of course, fullback, Alec Ingold. Then our line would look sweet. It would be Miller, Incognito at left guard, and then Simpson backing him up. Andre James in center with experienced Martin backing him up. Right guard, Good. And then Trey Smith backing him up. And then, of course, Darashaw at right tackle. And then swing tackle will give Brandon Parker another year. But what a young group. You'd be looking at Trey Smith and Simpson pushing the older guys, Good and Incognito. So we have veterans on the line. We will have that youth for the future to move into those spots. I think this would look damn good for us. And then, of course, if we do the 55-man roster, we'd add Avery Williams as our kick and punt return specialist. Okay, I think that looks really good. That's a solid-looking offense, I think. Let me know what you think about that offense. I like it. And then the defense. How would the defense look if we did these moves? For the outside cornerback, right side, I guess. It doesn't matter, right or left. But I put Mullen, then backing him up, Johnson. In the nickel, we'd have Arnett and Marco Wilson. So those guys would battle it out. And then at the left quarterback, or the other outside quarterback, we'd have Douglas and Paulson and Debu. Those guys would be battling out. And then we'd I put on here, sign Casey Hayward, so we have that veteran. He can play the outside or the inside. He knows the system, so he could teach these young dudes how to do it. I think that would be awesome. Of course, we'd be cutting to me, Keeson, and Nevin Lawson. And we'll see how that works out. Safety position, we'd have Tyree Gillespie and Jeff Heath. For free safety, strong safety, we'd have Jonathan Abram and Carl Joseph. In that position list, kind of overhang safety or multifaceted safety, Israel Mukawamu out of South Carolina would be a tremendous piece there for Gus Bradley to work with. And I think would be a valuable asset for our team. Of course, the Leo position, you'd have Yannick with Crosby backing him up. And then at the 4 technique, Farrell and probably Crosby backing him up as the other edge too. 3 technique, Thomas, Jefferson, Irving. And then, of course, if we did 55, which we probably will, we'd have Vickers there as well. At the one technique as the run stopper, Hankins, and as the pass rusher, Bobby Brown. Be a great addition for us. At that Sam linebacker position, kind of that edge rusher do-it-all position, would be Derek Barnes. And then, of course, our will would be Littleton and Muse, and our Mike would be Nick and Morrow. That's 26 defenders, 25 offensive players with that one specialty player, Avery. And, of course, your 3 core special teamers. That would give us 55 players. So let me know what you think of that roster. I think that roster definitely puts us in the playoffs. It's affordable. It's something that's doable for us. So, made some cuts and make some room for the draft picks and to bring on Casey Hayward. Of course, trading Nazem freed up a little bit of money. Yeah, it's all doable. All those trades were based on the value chart. Now, of course, there needs to be willingness on both sides to do trades like that, which is probably not going to happen. But it was fun doing it. I really like the way this draft came out and the way more importantly, how the roster sets up. It gives you an idea what I'm thinking for our roster. I think we obviously need a starter at right tackle. And the other position, we just need to upgrade. We need depth. And I think we added some really solid young depth, some real good pieces to the puzzle here to put everything together. I think it fits the schemes really well. And yeah, let me know what you think about the whole thing. Let me know some of your guys' mock drafts. Be curious to see. Obviously, we're a day away from tomorrow, so it's a big day for Raider Nation tomorrow. I'll come on tomorrow night after we make our pick and kind of talk about that, what I think, and then maybe we'll just kind of regroup and maybe do around a day 2 draft, kind of based on who we pick in the first round, and we'll go from there. Anyways, hey, thanks for tuning in tonight. This is Raider Sparks with the Raider roster report with the ultimate mock draft to get the Raiders back to the playoffs and into the Super Bowl. Thanks for listening. Please like, subscribe, please share, please comment. Let's get the video out there. Thanks a lot.